planning for research impact at the start of your project rather than at the end, when the ref comes along and asks you to do your impact retrospectively. Just to give you a bit of background, I've been at Loughborough University for just under 4 years. Prior to that, I worked in the public sector for 7 years doing research. And in that time in the public sector, I had a lot of experience doing impact. It's a thing that we do all the time. So I was quite surprised when I came to the university that we didn't do it. I ended up writing most of the impact cases for the business school with my boss, who's the Dean of Research in the school. So I'm not going to ask you to do the exercise at the end because I think we're running out of time.
You can.
No, it's just fine. There's no point in. So I'm not going to talk through this, but this is just the definition of impact from the ref that has just been published for everybody. Well, actually, I should say last year, not just been published. And it was quite an important part of the ref impact stuff. And it's I assume, will become even more so important. And I should make the point here quite clearly, this is not academic impact. This is impact of your research beyond academia. So we're not talking about journals, we're not talking about citations, we're talking about, my area of expertise is service management in the public sector. So if my impact would be counted as if a paper of mine and a theory of mine was taken up by someone in the public sector and it saved lots of money in, for example, a social care department. So it's that impact that we're specifically talking about here. So those are just some of the criteria that I picked up when I was doing the ref impact cases prior work. This is the kind of things that the ref talked about. So the type of impact, the stakeholders that might be involved, geographical location. So just really some things to think about when you are planning your research. Kind of it's worth having a little bit of a think about before you actually start. Because one of the problems that we had with some of the impact cases when I was writing them was that people were obviously doing stuff retrospectively, which always doesn't help, but they were trying to take through their research and pick out things, and the data just didn't match. So if you can have the time to plan the research at the beginning, just think about it, even if it's 5-10 minutes, and then you can take that forward through your research, it makes a big difference, because being able to map that and evidence that is really important. And it's not just for the ref that this is important now, it's for funding. You have to provide evidence. I know that there's a lot of funding bodies now that actually have a specific section on impact, so I'd imagine it's something that's going to get more and more important. The ref gives you some kind of indication of how you might want to assess your impacts. So when you're doing your planning, you might want to think about the extent and the diversity of your impact, the environments, the communities, the individuals you might be reaching, and how that might be significant. So for example, in public sector, impact might be your research has been taken up in a policy document that's been taken up by government, that's then provided a new strand of funding, that's then provided opportunities for a local community. So you could think about how your research might influence at fields outside of academia. So really just a few points to think about when planning for impact. What are your audiences? What evidence do you think you might have, and how significant that might be? And I've listed here just some of the examples from the ref of the type of things that they're talking about. So public consultations, public discussions, debates among practitioners in journals, for example, public debate in the media, so that could be newspapers, online, Twitter. So evidence from participants. So one of the things that we do quite heavily in the school, a lot of our work doesn't necessarily have a tangible output, but we know it's made a difference. So the participants or the people that we're helping on our research, we've got them to write letters and said, X, Y and Z research project has done this, and that was counted as solid evidence. So it doesn't necessarily have to be numbers, that intangible thing, but it's having the kind of evidence to back it up. I'm not going to do the discussion because I think we're running over time. So it's very, very brief, but really just the key thing is to just get you to think about your impact before you start your research project, because it's something that is important now and I would imagine is going to be increasingly important in the future. And that's it.